You know, you have to stop saying that you're going to move to Canada whenever you're mad at something in the US. As a Canadian, I'm sorry, but no, you can't.
The production is estimated to pump approximately $37.5 million into the community, as well as create over 1,000 jobs.
Hollywood just dropped Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds after they supposedly attempted offering money to Vancouver authorities using a $375 million Deadpool budget to go after a photographer from untrue accusations and years of court postponements to Blake concealing a 392-page testimony and demanding statements from critics. Their flawless couple image is falling apart under constant public relations manipulation.
Ryan Reynolds, to attempt to influence the judge or the court and use his power in order to do so.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, the picture-perfect pretend humble couple, who seemed just like everyday people but wealthy, just had their polished image torn apart. All the playful exchanges on talk shows, all the social media captions, acting like they are just a regular married pair teasing each other. Turns out, behind the trendy breakfasts and edited photos, they were offering a $375 million payoff to authorities, like a storyline from a low-grade crime film.
I believe there is something very deeply disturbed about this man. We believe his desire to photograph us exceeded only by his intention to terrorize us.
And no, this is not about some small traffic fine payoff. This is Vancouver 2015. Ryan and Blake supposedly proposed the city the largest Hollywood payment it had seen in years, not for a fundraiser or to construct a school, but to use law enforcement and the legal system as their own personal attack team against a single photographer, one man, Richard Fedek. Their pride was reportedly so delicate that instead of brushing him off like most other famous people do when a camera is in their face, they chose to go full authoritarian mode.
The judge completely siding almost exclusively with Blake over and over and over again, and ignoring factual evidence of illegal subpoenas or abusive process or whatever.
And here is the twist. Judge Lyman, the so-called referee in this courtroom spectacle, keeps making decisions that strangely work in Blake's favor every single time. It is like watching a fixed match where you already know the result before the game starts. The verdicts are so suspicious they might as well come with a message saying "Love Hollywood," and the public is just expected to sit quietly and act like it is normal that the supposedly charming, relatable couple is running a publicity attack. Disguised as wholesome Hallmark-style branding, now comes the key evidence. The letter. April 2015. Ryan Reynolds, with a pen and an imagination worthy of an award, sends Vancouver police a lengthy dramatic piece, and when I say dramatic, it could have been entered for Best Original Screenplay. In this version, Ryan casts himself as the tragic hero, turns Fedek into the menacing villain, and includes Blake, baby James, and even his mother, Tamarily Reynolds, in cameo roles, not because they faced any real threat, but because it helps Ryan appear as the devoted family man defending his loved ones from the dangerous photographer. When facts do not work, you go for pulling on emotions, right?
While it may be determined conjecture throughout the years, he has always imbued a sense of arrogance and glee in his behavior. I have been working in the entertainment industry for 25 years, and I have a very long history in association with navigating public life and all it entails. Paparazzi is a byproduct of the job. I don't enjoy that aspect, but I understand it. I don't complain about it, nor do I have an expectation that people might understand how awkward and invasive it all can be.
The accusations: reckless driving pursuits, stalking, harassment. You would think Fedek was trying out for the Fast and Furious series. The way Ryan described it, the issue is most of it was shown to be untrue. Travel documents directly disproved major parts of Ryan's account. It is like telling police you saw someone rob your home, while video proof shows you were the one carrying the stolen items. But that did not stop Ryan from portraying every incident like it belonged in a Marvel plot, except in this case there were no stunt performers, no computer-generated blasts, just an entire pile of evidence with zero credibility.
Why I might have photos taken while out in public. However, it is unusual to be engaged by a photographer who is simultaneously driving a vehicle in this manner.
And if you believe this was only about a harmless family wanting protection, get ready. The entire feud began because someone took a picture of Ryan in complete Deadpool Burns makeup before the film came out. That is it, the ultimate offense in Ryan's mind. A makeup photo, apparently having the look of his movie character, leaked online was enough to spark a years-long grudge. Ryan shifted from being Canada's beloved quick-witted star to a man obsessively creating legal fanfiction about Bush's hotels and made-up high-speed pursuits.
I know we're friendly, but Canada's not your safe house. I mean, we barely let Canadians into Canada anymore, so please, pick somewhere else. I hear Finland is really lovely this time.
This makeup meltdown escalated quickly. Ryan insists Fidek was hiding in bushes, lingering in hotel corridors, and tailing them at reckless speeds, yet actual proof shows that many times Fidek was not even in the same city. One particularly imaginative claim had Fidek pursuing them from Sudbury to Toronto, except Fidek was relaxing in Vancouver at the time, so either this man can teleport or Ryan was simply inventing storylines out of nowhere, and naturally Ryan presents all of this as safeguarding Blake and the public, when in reality it is just a payback mission because his pride was hurt by a leaked picture.
Ryan lost his mind. He was so angry. A photograph of him in makeup of Deadpool prompted a months-long, years-long tirade by him.
Then comes the best part, when Ryan starts pressuring the city like he is running a corporate extortion operation. It is 2015. Deadpool is in pre-production, and Ryan, conveniently also serving as a producer, suddenly sees he has bargaining power. He tells Vancouver leaders basically he could shoot anywhere, New Orleans, Detroit, Europe, but he picked them because he loves the city and is bringing $375 million in revenue plus more than 1,000 jobs. Sounds generous, except the offer only stands if the city deals with his Fidek problem.
Back in 2015 and 16, he claimed that he was hit by a car. And because this paparazzo took a photograph of Ryan in his Deadpool makeup before the film had come out, you know, where he looks like he's gone through.
That is not a community concern. That is the textbook definition of quid pro quo bribery. No matter how you dress it up, it is the same as saying nice economy, you have shame if something happened to it, and he did not even bother to conceal it. It is written plainly in the letter. If they allow Fidek to operate freely, it might influence his choice to bring future productions to Vancouver. He is essentially warning that he will pack up his Hollywood projects and leave unless the city submits to his demands.
With the understanding that he is a paparazzi, I chose at the time to not engage in a verbal conversation with Fidek and instead returned to my car and carried on to my destination.
And let us not act like Vancouver officials did not understand him perfectly. They acted immediately, treating every word from Ryan as if it were unquestionable truth, and Fidek was trapped in legal trouble for over 2 years. The charges were not dismissed until 2017, and not because anything was proven, but because there was absolutely no evidence. 2.5 years wasted along with taxpayer funds and public resources, all because Ryan could not handle a single leaked photograph.
So all of what he's saying is a complete lie. It doesn't match any of the evidence, but this is a completely fabricated story that didn't happen.
This is what happens when Hollywood egos mix with small-town starstruck politics. Ryan was not just offering them a movie, he was offering the illusion of being part of his inner circle, and when that was not enough, he dangled a massive financial incentive to make it irresistible. Meanwhile, Blake plays the role of the supportive wife, smiling for the cameras, while the legal machine quietly tilts in her favor, and the hypocrisy is glaring. These are the same people who present themselves as relatable, kind and humble, the same ones who go viral for playful couple jokes online, the same ones who act like they are just like everyone else while wearing outfits worth more than most cars. Behind the scenes, it is manipulation, leverage, and the readiness to use millions to destroy someone they dislike. It all reeks of insecurity. Ryan had to craft a letter filled with debunked claims, pull his entire family into the story, and package it as a Hollywood-style morality tale just to justify targeting one man. Blake hides behind his version of events, letting him be the loud, self-righteous protector, while she stays in the background, preserving her America's sweetheart image. And the judge, well, if rulings were drinks, Judge Lyman has been serving the same blend over and over, 90% Blake's preference and 10% just to make it appear balanced.
So for Blake, this was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. Why doesn't she want this to be public? What is she hiding?
They turned what could have been a forgettable paparazzi snapshot into an international example of how celebrity privilege operates. They used their fame, their money, and their connections as weapons, then disguised it all in the warm image of being Hollywood's favorite couple. And that is the real con, not just the supposed bribe, but the marketing that convinced people they were too sweet, too wholesome, and too relatable to ever pull something like this. If this is how they react to one unflattering photo leaking, imagine their response if someone uncovered something truly damaging. Ryan already wrote a feature-length police letter over makeup. Imagine the trilogy he would create if they were caught doing something genuinely corrupt. Oh wait, we no longer need to imagine. Moving on, because if the first half of this story seemed bad, this is where the hypocrisy hits full throttle. Law enforcement in Vancouver apparently decided Ryan Reynolds' imagination outweighed real evidence. There were no photos, No videos, no trustworthy witnesses, nothing, yet they still pursued his outrageous claims for more than 2 years, as if they were undeniable truth. Poor Richard Fedek spent that time stuck in legal limbo defending himself against a case built solely on Ryan's word. It was not until 2017 that the entire thing quietly collapsed because unsurprisingly there was no proof. 2.5 years wasted, and when the charges were dropped there was no apology, no responsibility, not even a half-hearted acknowledgement from Blake or Ryan. They simply walked away, as if they had not dragged someone through years of legal misery purely for sport.
And Fedek was not cleared of these charges until 2017. 2.5 years later, they withdrew the charges against him. Not guilty. No charges. Nothing. Because they had no evidence.
And Ryan O'Ryan, he loves to frame himself as the ultimate family defender, yet in his own words he admits to chasing Fedek through a parking garage 6 floors down and 6 floors back up like some bargain action hero in a straight-to-DVD flick. You say you are terrified of this man, but you are literally sprinting after him on foot. So which is it, Ryan? Is he a danger, or your favorite workout routine? The contradictions never end. They claim to be afraid for their safety, yet they keep confronting Fedek face to face. Most people who truly believe someone is a threat avoid them entirely, but these two seem drawn to the drama, and Hollywood's PR engine eats it up, flipping the aggressors into martyrs. It is the same illusion we have all seen before: turn the instigator into the victim, and count on the public being too dazzled by attractive faces to catch on, and naturally the judge appears perfectly willing to go along with it. Jump to July 31st, 2020, and here comes another milestone. Blake's deposition, 408 pages to be precise, 392 of sworn testimony taken by Brian Friedman in New York. Justin Baldoni is there, likely jotting mental notes for his next inspirational Instagram caption, and they even have a full audience: Steve Sawitz, Melissa, Nathan, Jennifer, Ale, Jamie, Heath. Blake's team knows this is no casual conversation, it is a high-stakes event.
As you know, Blake Lively is accusing Justin Baldoni's legal or lawyer for being a PR agent as well as an attorney, and the judge actually denied her that. And to quash the subpoena, Justin Baldoni's legal team added some information to say, hey, we're not part of this smear campaign.
That transcript gets attached to a court filing, and Blake's response is immediate panic. They go all out demanding it be taken down, even though it is already sealed. No one could read it anyway, but apparently just the idea of it sitting in the docket is too much for her to handle. The reason they give is that the media might pull selective quotes and distort her words, which is ironic considering Blake has no issue providing carefully crafted PR-friendly versions of her story to major outlets like the New York Times whenever it works in her favor.
And Blake Lively actually admitted herself that the only smear campaign that's been going on lately is the one basically with Justin Baldoni defending him.
And of course Judge Lyman steps in like her own legal fairy godmother, granting the request and wiping it from the record once again. She gets exactly what she wants without any pushback from the court. Another day, another decision that somehow lands in her favor. This flows right into her favorite move, the damned if you do, damned if you don't strategy. Her public relations spin is almost artful in its manipulation. If she leaves the deposition in place, critics will twist it. If she pushes to conceal it, she looks like she is hiding something. Either way, she casts herself as the target of unfair judgment, and while she is busy playing advanced strategy with her image, Justin Baldoni's team is subtly planting the thought in everyone's head: what exactly is she so desperate to keep secret?
Blake Lively's team is accusing Justin Baldoni's team of leaking this deposition, although it was sealed so we couldn't see what was in it, because they attached it to this document that ended up in the docket.
And the thing is, it is working, just not in the way she hopes. Public opinion is starting to shift, even among people who are not following the case closely. When someone keeps claiming they are being truthful yet fights relentlessly to keep their own statements out of view, it does not project confidence, it projects damage control. The situation feels less like genuine self-protection and more like a frantic effort to patch holes in a sinking ship. The longer she conceals it, the more it fuels suspicion. And honestly, if your sworn testimony cannot stand up to public view without being misread, maybe the issue is not the daylight, maybe the issue is what is actually written in those 392 pages.
They want it to disappear from the docket. The first thing I was thinking was, why would you want that to disappear if that is your sworn statement of what really happened? Don't you want what really happened to be out there so people can actually see and hear your own words to explain what really happened on that set that traumatized you so much?
But Blake and Ryan do not seem concerned about any of that. They have their judge, their publicity machine, and their quirky couple image propped up just enough to keep casual fans distracted. Meanwhile, anyone actually paying attention can see the cracks splitting straight through the performance. This is not about safety or justice, it is about control over the story, control over the evidence, and control over the public perception. They have spent years and millions crafting and watching them work this hard to keep the truth hidden, says more than any leaked deposition ever could. Now we reach the stage of the story where the conflict spills beyond Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their paparazzi rival, and starts pulling in outsiders, and Blake's choice of targets is far from modest. She fires subpoenas at Paris Hilton, Candace Owens, and Andy Senior like she is leading an FBI operation against a criminal syndicate, and not the mild "can you answer a few questions" type subpoenas. These are demands for their complete digital trail, IP addresses, bank records, every piece of communication they have ever had with Justin Baldoni's team, emails, texts, and maybe even carrier pigeon notes. The theory being that these individuals were secretly paid to promote anti-Blake narratives, which is frankly absurd. Candace Owens does not exactly need a side hustle from Justin Baldoni to cover her bills. The woman could probably purchase the courtroom Blake is sitting in.
I don't understand how this is really a victory. So what happened was that Judge Lyman actually agreed with Blake Lively's team, oh surprise, surprise, that this deposition should be struck from the docket, so it disappeared, so we can't see it. We couldn't read it anyways because it was already sealed.
And Perez has built an entire career out of stirring up celebrity drama without needing a paycheck from anyone involved. If someone like Perez wants to call you out, he will do it for free and post it on Instagram before lunchtime. Same with Andy Senior. These are personalities whose brands are founded on being loud and unfiltered, not on collecting polished consulting fees from rival camps. But of course Blake's side frames it as just asking questions, when in reality it looks a lot more like let's accuse them of being paid off so we can dig through all their private information. Perez decides he is not just going to take it and fights the subpoena in Nevada, which is a smart strategy because it forces Blake's team to battle on his home ground, making their job much more difficult. Andy follows suit in Florida. It is legal chess, not checkers, and every extra move slows down Blake's lawyers, which might be the only real justice in this entire situation.
So on Friday, there was a filing from Justin Baldoni's legal team because they wanted to quash the subpoena on their legal offices from Blake Lively's team.
Blake's camp, of course, labels these moves as PR stunts, which is ironic coming from a team whose entire operation at this stage revolves around managing appearances. Accusing someone else of pulling a stunt is like Ryan Reynolds accusing someone else of cracking too many sarcastic jokes. Critics call it what it really is, a witch hunt. Blake is not trying to defend her case, she is trying to intimidate and discredit anyone who speaks about her in a way she does not approve of. And when it comes to Perez Hilton, this is where the situation swerves into pure entertainment. Perez does not just push back quietly, he files for a protective order in New York, which immediately sparks a jurisdiction mess. Now the question becomes whether he will have to face Blake in New York instead of Nevada, and if that happens it ends the whole make her work for it strategy. But here is where Perez hurts his own position, and not because he does not know better, but because he cannot resist being Perez Hilton. His filings to the judge are packed with insults and snark aimed directly at Blake, which is amusing for spectators, but basically invites the court to take him less seriously. If you want to claim you are a legitimate journalist with First Amendment rights, maybe do not submit a document that reads like a YouTube comment thread. Unsurprisingly, the judge is unimpressed, calls it disrespectful, and makes it clear this is not how to speak in his courtroom, and Blake's team wastes no time capitalizing on it. They begin pushing the idea that Perez is not a journalist at all, but merely an influencer and gossip blogger, someone who should not receive the same legal protections given to actual reporters, which conveniently would make it far easier to force him to turn over whatever they demanded. Is wild. Really, Perez might be one of the only people in this saga unafraid to openly challenge Blake, and instead of debating him publicly, her team aims to dismantle his legal protections. It is not about proving him wrong, it is about ensuring he cannot fight back at all.
Why doesn't she want this to be public? What is she hiding? Which is exactly what we're thinking. So what is she hiding? I don't know. This whole thing is so ridiculous. And what they're doing, continuously doing, is accusing them of these PR tactics.
This whole thing just shows what Blake's lawsuit has really been about since day one. On the surface, it's dressed up like a noble mission to fix her reputation, but every move she makes screams image control over truth. Seeking the claims against Baldwin's side for running a smear campaign are laughable when your own tactics include going after critics, digging into their bank records, and trying to strip them of journalistic protections. You've already lost the moral high ground. It's almost ironic how Much her approach mirrors Ryan's old bribery scheme. Back then he used his influence and a fat $37.5 million budget to try to get the city of Vancouver to take out his personal rival. Now she's using subpoenas, PR spin, and legal tricks to go after hers. Different stage, same game. Control the story, punish anyone who won't play along, and weaponize whatever influence is left. Now Hollywood's golden couple don't look like two actors anymore, they look like political operatives running a scorched earth campaign. Less America's sweethearts, more America's PR enforcers, complete with legal hit lists and spin worthy of election season. That's the real fall from grace. Once Blake Lively was rom-com royalty, the Gossip Girl alum with flawless hair, and Ryan Reynolds was the charming, sarcastic action star who could do no wrong. Together they were the red carpet proof that Hollywood love could be glamorous and relatable. Now their names get mentioned alongside bribery subpoenas and deposition cover-ups. That $37.5 million bribe allegation doesn't just tarnish your image, it tears it apart, and the deposition disaster is like lighting those scraps on fire and handing out marshmallows. Fans are catching on too. You can only hide behind polished Instagram posts and talk show charm for so long before people ask why everything you do in court seems built to keep real facts under wraps. Once those questions start, they don't fade, they grow, they spread, and they turn your audience into your jury. Maybe that's the real twist here. Ryan and Blake spent years perfecting their on-screen roles and off-screen image, but the part they're most dedicated to now isn't one anyone wanted. It's not a superhero or a rom-com lead, it's a courtroom role, and unlike in movies you can't just yell cut when things get rough. You sit there under the lights while the world watches you sweat, and this show is only getting messier.